The Thunder going to the NBA Finals. OKC takes game 1 in the series in kind of dominant fashion. I believe they outscored Minnesota by 30 points in the second half. It was like 70-40, which is what OKC does. They go on runs. They may have a quarter where they don't shoot particularly well, but maybe the next quarter they hit all their shots. Like, they are that kind of team. And so you can never let your foot off the gas. Not that Minnesota was doing that, but I'm just saying, against this team, they can easily go on a 20-0 run in like 5 minutes. And I'm not saying, oh, the series is over because OKC won one game, right? But I really did feel like, and I hate to be that person, I feel like Minnesota really needed to steal game 1. Because I feel like what OKC went through in the Denver series, I will talk about, really helped them through this game. But coming off a game 7 where they are obviously, still young, but anybody gets tired playing so many games back to, well, not back to back, but basically back to back. That and just the nerves of it being a new round, like the Western Conference Finals, like it's one step closer to the NBA Finals, and it's a place that a lot of the players in the team have never been before. So while I knew eventually in the game they would get it together, you saw in the first few minutes, they just kind of looked a little bit nervous. Minnesota came out firing, capitalizing on their nerves because Minnesota did not seem as nervous because they were just there last year. However, credit to OKC because after that first timeout or second timeout, whatever it was, they really regained their composure and then they started playing their style of basketball. Again, I know they didn't start, kind of taking away the lead until the second half, but after that first or second timeout, they got it together and they played the way they usually play. So, yes, OKC is going to do what they do. And it's hard to win a basketball game against anybody, especially in the playoffs. So I'm not saying Minnesota, quote unquote, blew it. I'm just saying I feel like if there was a way to get them to win this game, I felt like they had to, put their extra, that extra gas pedal on, whatever you want to say. It's the playoffs, so you really should treat every game like it's game 7. But I felt like, I guess that's what I'm saying, Minnesota should have treated this like game 7, because if you steal game 1, at OKC, not only do you get home court back, but it also gives your team confidence. And it's just, I don't know, it's something about them having game 1 would make me feel more confident in Minnesota winning the series. I don't know if I made a video on it or not, but I was picking OKC to win this series. And obviously after game 1, I feel even better about that. Even if Minnesota won game 1, I still would have picked OKC, but I'm saying, at least if Minnesota stole one, there could have been questions like, okay, maybe Minnesota actually might take this. This just kind of proves what I thought was going to happen in the series. I was thinking OKC in 6, maybe 5, but I'll go 6 because Minnesota, give them the respect. They have made their way here. It's kind of like how I said Minnesota would, in a way, in the first round, I said they would beat the Lakers. I think I said 6. I know a lot of people pick the Lakers because of the talent on the Lakers roster, but I was like, to me, I didn't think it was close, quote unquote. I thought it was Minnesota, but regardless, the way that I said, I feel like Minnesota is kind of going to overpower the Lakers in terms of, their defensive ability to play defense for 48 minutes, and I know they will be there on defense for 48 minutes, and also Anthony Edwards, and just they're also, being a good offensive team. I just thought they were overwhelming to the Lakers. And so I feel like it's kind of opposite in this series. Not that Minnesota just became a bad defensive team or anything like that, but I feel like OKC's offense and their defense too can just be so overpowering, even to a good team like Minnesota. I don't think this is the best matchup for Minnesota. Playoffs a lot of the times are also about matchups. And I think they much rather would have wanted to face Denver. They beat them last year, but that's not the reason why. I just feel like Denver is a better matchup for Minnesota, and OKC is not necessarily the best matchup. And so OKC does it again. They go on their runs. They won the game. Like I said, the first 6 minutes of the game or whatever, they look shaky, and I felt like when OKC was looking kind of shaky to start, Minnesota, like I said, did come out firing. They were taking advantage, but I felt like they should have been up even more. I understand it's hard, but I feel like they should have been up even more, especially because you knew OKC was going to make a run. If Shai Gilgeous-Alexander that MVP, when are they going to announce it already? Like, come on. I don't know what they're waiting for. I know Anthony Edwards has tweaked his ankle quite a few times in this playoffs. I don't know if it keeps happening to the same ankle, but he tweaked his ankle again today. He had 0 points in the fourth quarter, and I completely get when you are hurt, you can't, necessarily do all the things you usually do when you're healthy. I get it. Sometimes players don't play as well in the playoffs just because they actually got hurt, right? But with that being said, Anthony Edwards needs to, score 30. Like, again, I know it's hard, but I'm saying in order to win this series, he has to average 30 in the series. He has to dominate. That's the only way they have a chance. OKC is too deep. There are too many players who can score on any given night, especially Shea. Anthony Edwards has to average like 30 in the series in order for them to have a chance. And so that's really where I feel like it comes down to. We can talk about, other players on the team stepping up and contributing and doing stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if Anthony Edwards, because he only ended up with 18 today, and again, I get it, his ankle, but if he does not drop 30 pretty consistently, I don't think they're going to have a chance because they need him to be that dominant.